Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm ready to do my full review on the Vero Engineering Impulse Mini, or Mini Impulse, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's Impulse Mini, but that's just kind of weird. Why not just call it the Mini Impulse? Whatever. Um, this is an interesting knife, guys, and this knife basically has bred a family of Vero engineering products in my collection. So I always kind of thought Veros were interesting, but I was never really sold on them. They were really right-hand biased. You'll see here, this is a right-handed frame lock. It has a righty-only clip, and it has this V slot, they're calling it. And which you can spidey flick, but you can only do it right-handed because there isn't one on this side. And you can't really thumb flick it left-handed. You can, but it's just kind of awkward. It's not really a way of opening it for me. And the Impulse that came out originally, the first knife he made was the Impulse, which is the full-size version of this. And this is not a small knife. This is, if you have like a Benchmade 940, imagine that. Here's a bug out. Oh, man. So it's bigger than a bug out, guys. Like, this is not a mini knife, but it's mini compared to the full size. So that's where the name comes from, obviously. But he came out with the original Impulse, which I now have on the way. I bought one off my buddy Kyle, thanks to a bro deal once again. And it's just interesting to me because I really didn't want to like it. I didn't want to like the full size, and my buddy Doug, sharp_marbles on Instagram, he sent me his full size Impulse. And that's when I realized that Vero knives are awesome. I just fell in love with the way this flipper tab functions. You'll see it's like vertical. Which is just different than what anybody else is doing. And you don't pull it down, because if you pull it down, I've never even done it, but if you pull it down, you kind of end up in this slot right here. And half the time you don't even deploy it. You kind of just like have to, I don't even know. It's really hard to do, but what you're supposed to do is deploy it down and out like this, like that, right? And that's just kind of naturally how I flip. So I don't have a problem deploying this knife. And I don't think most people would. But I just want to kind of mention that because it's this vertical type flipper. You don't just pull it straight down. I feel like common sense tells you to do what I'm doing and pull kind of out. But whatever. And it also keeps everything very minimal. So this knife is like flush, right? Which makes it a better carry for a lefty in the left pocket. I don't mind carrying this in my front left because of that flipper tab. It's going to be really hard to accidentally deploy that in my pocket, right? So anyway, he came out with the Impulse. Then he came out with, I believe, the Synapse, which is a drop point blade with a bolster lock and like a micarta inlay instead of like the full tie Tanto. But very similar, right? And it's about this size, maybe a little smaller than the Impulse Mini. Then he came out with, what did he come out with next? The Impulse Mini, I think, was next. Then the Axon, and then the Synapse XL, and now the Isotope was pre-ordered. That's an integral. And basically, I now own all of the ones except for the Synapse regular size and the Isotope, which isn't even out yet. So I bought this, and then right after I bought this, I was like, oh God, I love Vero. So I bought an Axon. So now I have an Axon. And then I bought the Impulse from Kyle because I really liked this knife so much. I wanted to try the bigger one, or have the bigger one for my collection. And then just yesterday, I bought a Synapse XL because I got a bro deal from somebody. And yeah, so I had to get one. I really want to try a Synapse, but those are hard to get, guys. I think the Synapse is the hardest one to get right now. Probably because it was a small run initially, and they have a version 2 now, but it hasn't shipped yet. So there's very few just Synapses floating around, right? But I'll get one. Don't worry, I'll get one because I have to. Because now, and I have a Fulcrum. I have the pry bar too. Like, whew. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this short, guys. Aesthetically, this Tanto is absolutely fantastically gorgeous. I just love the grind. This is a belt satin on here. I love the, I guess it's a compound grind, right? I don't know. I'm an idiot. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it looks like it because it has a grind here and a grind there, right? And then you have this awesome looking handle, and I have the one with the raw titanium hardware. It just is stunning, guys. I honestly sit here sometimes. I'll be working and I'll just flip my knife and I'll do this. Like, I'll just look at it like this and just ogle it. Like, I love the freaking look of this thing, guys. So I'm biased in that sense, right? Ergonomics. If you hold it down here like this, it's pretty comfortable. I feel the clip on my index finger a bit, and we'll get to the clip. But it's comfortable, right? But I think these are meant, and I'm pretty sure I've heard that Joseph Vero, he holds the knives like this. He uses this as basically a forward choil. And if you hold it like that, the clip lands perfectly between two fingers, and you have a lot of control, and it's extremely comfortable. And this is basically how I grip the knife just from go. Like, that's just how I naturally grabbed it. I love any kind of choil or flat like that. So, and that's, again, because of this fantastic flipper design. It ends up flat, so then you can hold the knife like this. So ergonomics are good. They're not fantastic, but they're good. Carry. So this is where we get into the weeds a little bit. This clip, to me, is the only negative, other than not being reversible, you know, and all that stuff, the lefty stuff. This clip, just, man, it's too tight. It's just too tight. When you go in pocket, it goes to like here, and then you have to give it another shove in. And my Axon one is even tighter than that. So I can imagine that they all kind of vary. But I think an update to the clip would be... I love how it looks. You know, it looks awesome. But it could be a little shorter maybe, and it could definitely have just a little more clearance, and it would be fantastic. But it does carry well. You don't notice it in pocket. It's not annoying. This one has enough clearance that I can get it in and out without a struggle. My Axon, I have to like grip really hard to get out of my pocket. It's kind of an issue. So yeah, there is that. So we should talk about the centering. The centering is dead nuts on this one right now. But when I got it, if you saw my unboxing, I was pretty, you know, I was a little upset with it because it was off to the show side. And I just can't stand bad centering. And I know he QC checks these personally before he ships them out. So I was a little curious to see it be off center. But I did the video where I installed skiff bearings in 4 knives. This was one of them. And those skiff bearings centered this baby up perfectly. So we are centered. We have absolutely no play. And we have that kind of action. So I am good. But I did want to note, it was a tad bit off center when I got it. The action on this knife is incredible. It just is so much fun. It's so much fun to deploy. Just that flipper, you know, at first, I swear it hurt a little bit. After a few deployments, it hurt. Either I've gotten used to it or, you know, because I think I even sanded this down slightly with, like really slightly with sandpaper. But I think it's just kind of worn in or something. Maybe it was a little rough. I don't know. But now it feels fantastic. I can play with it all day. The closing action on this is one of the standouts. So right-handed, I mean, oh, it's just like butter, guys. It's just so fun to do that. Now, if you're left-handed, this particular one does not have the greatest closing action. It's not like, it doesn't just shake shut instantly. So, but with the skiff bearings and everything, it's really smooth. So that's action. Value, these went for, I actually don't know. I'd say like $300 probably new. Maybe 350. I traded my Satori 2.0 for this, which I paid $480 for. So I have $480 into this knife. And they sell for $450, I think $500 on the secondary. And oof, man, it's a lot of money. These knives are so good though. I do pay that. So I can't sit here and argue the value. Now, for the retail price they are sold at, this is a phenomenal value. You get titanium M390, best tech OEM. You just get a really good build and awesome engineering, and you support a really cool American maker. So I think the value's there. And recommendations, it's just up to the look, guys. If you want to try something different, if you like the look of this, I say snag it because it's so hard to not like it. I have not met many people who say they don't like Vero knives. I absolutely love them. So this, guys, is the Vero Engineering Impulse Mini, and I love it. I love it so much that I now have a family of Vero knives. So there you go. That's the best indication of how good a knife is for me, right? So I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.